Did you know that in the world of aquatic wonders, phylum Porifera boasts some of Earth's oldest multicellular organisms, with sponge species dating back over 600 million years? Meanwhile, certain cnidarians, like the stunning Aurelia, captivate with their ability to produce bioluminescent light, illuminating the depths of our oceans with a breathtaking spectacle. Join us in this video as we delve into the fascinating realms of phylum Porifera and phylum Coelenterata. Let us dive into the fascinating world of sponges, those creatures with a sponge-like appearance that you may have seen or heard about. Sponges belong to a unique group of animals known as Porifera, and we're going to explore their characteristics and some interesting facts about them. Sponges, or Porifera, are intriguing creatures with a unique appearance. Imagine having numerous tiny pores covering your body, giving you a sponge-like texture. That's exactly what sponges are like. The name Porifera is derived from two words, porous, meaning pore, and fere, meaning to bear. So, these animals literally bear pores. Now, sponges are one of the primitive groups of animals in the animal kingdom. What sets them apart is their organization, or should I say, their lack of organization compared to other animals. While many animals have distinct tissues and organs, sponges don't. Instead, they consist of specialized cells that work together to perform various functions, making them truly unique. This characteristic places them at the cellular level of organization, setting them apart from most other animals. Unlike animals with clear body plans and symmetry, sponges lack these features. They are asymmetrical, which means they don't have a defined body plan or symmetry like many other animals possess. Now, let's delve deeper into some general characteristics of the phylum Porifera. Habitat. Sponges are primarily found in oceans, but some can live in freshwater, such as the spongilla. They tend to be sedentary, meaning they stay in one place and are attached to the floor or a surface. However, sponges are not picky about their homes. You can find them in various ocean environments, from shallow tropical reefs to deep-sea trenches. They are excellent at adapting to different surroundings. It's fascinating to think about how sponges have survived for so long without a brain, unlike us and many other animals. It took millions of years for an organism with a brain to evolve after sponges. Symmetry. Now, when we talk about symmetry in sponges, it's a bit different from what you might be used to. Most animals, including us, exhibit bilateral symmetry, where the body can be divided into equal right and left halves. But sponges have a different kind of symmetry called radial symmetry. Imagine their body parts arranged like the spokes of a wheel around a central axis. This radial symmetry allows for multiple planes of symmetry passing through the central axis. In sponges, these planes can be 2, 3, or even more. The most common form of symmetry in sponges is pentaradial symmetry, where the body is divided into 5 equal parts along 5 planes of symmetry. This unique arrangement is related to their lifestyle as sessile animals. Sponges rely on water currents to bring food and oxygen to their cells, and this radial symmetry ensures that all cells have equal access to these life-sustaining currents. Let us quickly solve a question to revise what we have learned. Why are sponges considered asymmetrical in shape? The correct answer is option C. Sponges lack any definite shape or symmetry, as they do not have any specialized tissues or organs that could give them a particular shape. They are mostly asymmetrical in shape because they lack a defined axis or central point around which their body is organized, making it impossible to divide them into 2 equal halves through any plane passing through the center. Level of organization. Sponges are indeed unique in their organization. They are primitive multicellular animals, but their level of organization is quite different from most other creatures. Instead of having true tissues or organs, their bodies are composed of a loose network of specialized cells that work together. This cellular-level organization allows sponges to be incredibly flexible in terms of shape and size. They can adapt to various environmental conditions, grow, regenerate lost body parts, and even fuse with other sponges to form larger colonies. It's like they have a superpower of adaptability. Skeleton of poriferans. Now, let's talk about the skeletons of sponges, which play a crucial role in supporting and protecting their soft bodies. Sponges have fascinating skeletons composed of various structural elements. The primary components are spicules and spongin fibers. Spicules are like small, needle-like structures that come in different shapes, such as rods, crosses, and stars. These spicules are made of materials like calcium carbonate, silica, and spongin. They provide rigidity to the sponge's body and even serve as a deterrent to potential predators. Imagine having tiny, protective needles all over your body. Spongin fibers, on the other hand, are flexible and protein-based. They are responsible for giving sponges their spongy texture. These fibers create a network within the sponge's body, interwoven with spicules and other structural elements. Some sponges take it up a notch in complexity by having skeletons that are a combination of mineralized structures and organic materials. For instance, deep-sea sponges can have skeletons made of glass fibers, while others might have calcified tubes as part of their framework. The diversity in sponge skeletons is astonishing, but regardless of their complexity, the main function remains the same: providing support and protection for the sponge's soft body. Water canal system in poriferans. Now, let's talk about a crucial aspect of sponge biology: their water canal system. Sponges have a remarkable water transport system that serves multiple purposes, including gathering food, exchanging gases, and removing waste. This system involves a body cavity called the spongocoel, which is lined by specialized cells known as choanocytes or collar cells. Water enters the spongocoel through tiny pores in the body wall called ostia and exits through an opening called the osculum. It's like having a built-in filtration system. During this water movement, choanocytes play a vital role. They help generate water currents and capture food particles. Think of choanocytes as the sponge's internal chefs. They prepare and serve the meals right inside the sponge. The food particles are subsequently digested by specialized cells within the sponge. Let us quickly solve a question to revise what we have learned. What is the function of the osculum in sponges? Correct answer is option D. The function of the osculum in sponges is to allow the exit of water from the body cavity. Water enters the sponge through the tiny pores in the body wall called ostia and moves through the canals and into the central cavity called the spongocoel. Now, let's explore the fascinating modes of reproduction and development of poriferans, and also touch upon the intriguing phylum Coelenterata. Reproduction in poriferans. A. Asexual mode. Sponges have two intriguing modes of reproduction. In the asexual mode, a part of the sponge can break off and grow into a completely new sponge. This process is known as fragmentation. Additionally, sponges can also reproduce asexually through a process called budding. Imagine a small bud forming on the sponge and growing into a new individual. It's like nature's way of cloning. B. Sexual mode. Now, let's talk about the more complex but equally fascinating sexual mode of reproduction in sponges. Sponges reproduce sexually by forming gametes, sperm and eggs, of opposite sexes. What's interesting is that most sponges are hermaphrodites, which means they have both male and female reproductive organs. So, in the world of sponges, sexes are not separate, and they can produce both sperm and eggs. When it's time for reproduction, fertilization happens internally inside the parental body, which is the female's body. After fertilization occurs and the sperm and egg combine, sponges go through a process called indirect development. This is where things get even more intriguing. Instead of developing directly into a miniature adult sponge, the fertilized egg turns into a larva that looks quite different from the adult sponge. In some species, the larva takes the form of an amphiblastula, like in Sipha, or a parenchyma, as seen in Leucoselenia. These larval forms are like the sponge's version of a caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly. But the story doesn't end there. The larva then undergoes a magical transformation called metamorphosis, where it changes into the adult sponge form. This is quite different from the direct development seen in many other animals, where the embryo transforms directly into the adult form without any distinct larval stage. It's like the larva goes through a superhero-like transformation to become the sponge you'd recognize. Phylum Coelenterata. Now, let's briefly touch upon another intriguing group in the animal kingdom, Phylum Coelenterata. The name itself, derived from ancient Greek, means hollow and intestine. These fascinating creatures, commonly known as coelenterates, are some of the simplest animals among invertebrates. Coelenterates are often found residing at the bottom of the sea, where they attach themselves to rocks and other surfaces. What makes them unique are their characteristics, including true tissues and the presence of a gastrovascular cavity, known as the coelenteron. These features set them apart from many other organisms in the animal kingdom. Let's dive deep into the fascinating world of organisms belonging to phylum Coelenterata. These creatures, also known as cnidarians, are some of the most intriguing and diverse creatures in the aquatic realm. Habitat. Phylum Coelenterata. Cnidarians are primarily aquatic creatures, which means they thrive in water. Some of them, like sea anemones, prefer the salty embrace of marine environments. Others, like hydra, find their homes in freshwater streams and ponds. They can be solitary, like hydra, or live together in colonies, as we see in Obelia. Symmetry. Phylum Coelenterata. Cnidarians come in various shapes and sizes. Picture them as free-spirited swimmers, like Aurelia, or as sedentary creatures, firmly rooted to their homes like corals. Their bodies can be cylindrical, flat, or even cup-shaped. When it comes to symmetry, some are radially symmetrical with a central gastrovascular cavity, while others, like sea anemones, exhibit complete bilateral symmetry. Level of organization. Phylum Coelenterata. Now, let's talk about how they're organized. Cnidarians have a tissue level of organization, meaning they have distinct tissues with specific functions. They have an inner layer called the gastrodermis, responsible for digestion, and an outer layer known as the epidermis. Their body wall is diploblastic, and they lack a true body cavity, aquelimate. Instead, they have a blind body sac plan with a gelatinous, non-cellular layer called mesoglia. The function of an intestine is performed by the coelenteron, an internal hollow cavity. Digestion. Phylum Coelenterata. Cnidarians are true holozoic feeders, and their digestion is a unique affair. They possess a central gastrovascular cavity with a single opening, the mouth, usually encircled by tentacles equipped with nematocysts. Digestion occurs both extracellularly in this cavity and intracellularly within the cells of the gastrovascular lining. Some, like corals, even have a symbiotic relationship with photosynthetic organisms called zooxanthellae that contribute to their nutrition. Interestingly, they lack an anus, so the mouth takes on the role of both ingestion and elimination. Skeleton. Phylum Coelenterata. Intriguingly, some cnidarians, such as corals, possess a calcium carbonate skeleton, which not only provides support but also creates breathtaking coral reefs. Cnidarians lack circulatory, respiratory, or excretory organs. Instead, their outer body surface takes care of these functions. They use tentacles and smooth muscle fibers for movement, although some, like corals, are fixed to the substratum. Their nervous system consists of diffuse nerve cells, they don't have a centralized brain. Body forms. Phylum Coelenterata. Now, let's take a closer look at their body forms. Cnidarians display two primary body forms, the cylindrical, sessile polyps, which are typically attached to a substrate, and the free-swimming umbrella-shaped medusae, armed with tentacles for hunting. Polyps can give rise to medusae asexually through a process called budding. They also have fascinating regenerative abilities due to interstitial cells. Their bodies feature nidoblasts, which are specialized structures for the secretion of hypnotoxin chemicals used in self-defense and prey capture. Mode of reproduction. Phylum Coelenterata. When it comes to reproduction, cnidarians are quite versatile. They reproduce both sexually, through the fusion of gametes, and asexually, via fission and budding. Here's where it gets interesting. Some cnidarians exhibit alternation of generations or metagenesis. This means they switch between two forms during their life cycle, the medusa, sexual form, and the polyp, asexual form. So, students, in this video, we've delved into the fundamental features of Phylum Porifera and Phylum Coelenterata, covering their habitat, symmetry, organizational levels, modes of reproduction, and other significant aspects. I hope you found the video informative and engaging.